to see if you can hear me.
Welcome to the virtual couch. Please take a
Okay, do you want to try that? And then, okay. And then I need everybody's questions. You need everybody's questions. It's been a little while since we did a live. And Mackie will be here in a minute. Sid in the background. Buddy. All right, well, there's one. Zena, number one. First person here. You would win something. If I had a prize, I would give it to you. So thanks for being here. I am a licensed marriage and family therapist, although I am not doing real life therapy tonight, but I will answer questions. Anything that you have around. Does it sound okay? Good. So I want your questions. I want things about relationships. I want things about, I'm a big fan of talking about emotional immaturity, also known as strong narcissistic traits and tendencies. So please let me know if you have questions about that. And I've become obsessed a little bit with a thread on Reddit called Am I Overthinking? And I could just break down one of these for days. There's one that I'm reading right now that someone is in a relationship with somebody that they think is secretly married, and they're married. Like, they are so secretly married. Not even secretly, I think they're very openly married. But we can break down one of those as well. But I would really enjoy if you have any questions about relationships. So I'm a marriage and family therapist. I do a lot of couples therapy. And I also have my daughter, McKinley, who will be joining me soon. And Sid, are you okay commenting off mic right now? Hey. Okay, we got Sid in the background. And one of the things that I did a podcast this week that I released on the virtual couch, and it's about a thing that once you hear this, I think that you will never be able to listen to conversations the same, because I'm hearing it everywhere. And that is, has anybody ever started a conversation by saying, I feel like you're not trying. I feel like you don't care. And Sid, you edited that episode, or did you listen to that one? The thinking and feeling?
Yeah.
Okay, so have you noticed that at all? So
yeah.
Okay, I don't know if I believe you, but what we often say is we say things like, here's what set the stage. I had a couple in my office, and the guy, who I'm going to give him a lot of credit because he went from not really ever talking about his emotions to using the word feel, which sounds like we're setting up an emotion, but he was saying to his wife, I feel like you're not really trying. I feel like I'm trying more than you are. So that is not a feeling. Feelings are things like, I feel angry, or I feel frustrated because I don't see you putting in any effort. And so what we do so often is we make an observation of what somebody's doing, and then we make a judgment right away. And then that person now has to defend themselves from something that may it's probably not even true. But if we say things like, hey, I feel frustrated because I'm not seeing you do any work on the relationship, then we can talk about it. So there's some curiosity built in there. Ladies and gentlemen, coming from off stage, Mackie,
Whoa.
look at this. You get a very fancy microphone. Okay. I know. I like these kind because they have like little fuzzy hair on them.
And you don't have any.
And I do not have any hair.
Feelings?
Yeah, thank you. So McKinley is coming on.
Call me that. I heard you call me that when I was
You don't like
driving
that?
over. That's not my name.
Okay, it's your
It's my government name.
It's your government name. Okay. And mine
What do I
then.
do?
Okay. It has like you can do that.
Yeah, you're Anthony.
Yeah. Do you want to do the fancy magnet kind?
Oh.
Yeah. You got to work hard. Pull that thing off. Okay. There we go. Okay. And then you have to put the magnet on the inside.
Yeah, I got that.
Like you have to swallow the magnet, and then it'll like.
What if I actually did when you said that?
That would not be a good thing. Yeah. Although I think it would work. Well, no. Would it work though? No, it wouldn't.
Look, it'd have to be perfectly positioned here, and it would just go straight down my esophagus.
You would watch like every day, or I don't know how fast that works, but the microphone would be in different places going down your esophagus.
Except I would die.
Yeah, you probably would. Okay, so I was just talking about, I just released an episode called Thinking and Feeling on the virtual couch.
I was listening.
Oh, you were? So do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, if you're saying like, I think you don't care, I think you don't.
Yeah, but people say though, they say like, I feel like like, oh man, I feel like you're always late.
That's a weird thing to say.
Okay. Well, I mean, just hypothetically, right?
Hypothetically.
No, but it's like the correct way would say, I feel like Sydney is not paying attention. That is incorrect. I think she's not paying attention, and I feel sad about that.
And are you saying...
Page automatically pulls up when you open that.
Okay.
Are you saying that you're not supposed to do that then?
Yeah.
So what are you supposed to do though because what if you do feel that thing?
Okay, well, you feel frustrated, or you feel angry, or you feel sad. Those are feelings.
So you would say, I feel frustrated that you're always late.
Well,
Like,
okay.
how do you say that in a
Yeah,
way?
so
you know what I mean?
so I feel frustrated when you're late. Like you walked in late. That's a fact, right?
So I feel frustrated.
Yeah. Hey, I
when
noticed you were
do
late,
this.
and that frustrates me because I had to do this solo for a little while your sister in the background was not
For
paying attention.
2 minutes.
Right. I'm just kind of like saying that for an
Yeah.
example, though. Yeah.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? It's
Kinda.
hard though. Yeah.
Well, because it's hard because I feel like.
Yeah.
But if
See?
I'm feeling something, then I feel like I just want to say I feel this. You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. Well,
I don't want to have to sit there in my brain and go.
Well, here's
work backwards to.
Yeah.
To what? Not make you feel as bad? Or
Oh
what?
no!
What's
To
the
say
point?
it to say it well.
Correctly. To not say it's stupid.
Okay, but here's the thing though. This goes back. I enjoy a good origin story better than anything, and this goes back to the fact that I don't think hardly any of us were taught how to address our feelings when we were young.
Okay.
Because if we would have grown up saying, "Oh, how do you feel? Oh, I feel angry. I feel sad," but most every parent in the world was saying, "Hey, it's not a big deal. Don't worry about it. Get over it." Remember when we were
feel that?
Yeah, don't feel that. So then we learn to say we don't learn to say I feel sad or I feel angry. We learn to say I feel like you don't care versus I feel frustrated. I feel angry. I feel sad.
But okay, then see, I'm still confused again.
I know. Let's see what
you say.
This is good. Yeah.
I feel angry that you don't care. Like I'm confused by the second part because you're still allowed to say why you feel that
Absolutely.
way, right?
That's why. Yeah, that's what you're saying. So you're making an observation, and then you're separating the judgment from it. So okay, so this example that I was talking about when you walked in. This couple's in my office, and the guy said, I feel like you're not trying in the relationship. So
okay.
So what he's noticing, he's noticing that he doesn't see what she's doing, but it's trying according to him. So he doesn't think that she's trying. So he's like, I feel like you're not trying, you know?
Yeah.
So then she just in that scenario said, okay, well I am. Period. But if he says, you know,
you're listing the causality and not the symptom.
There we go. Thank you, for Hathaway. Exactly. So then if you're saying, man, I feel sad because it appears that you aren't trying. Because then it can say...
So you can't just... It's not supposed to be accusatory in any way. Yeah. But you could still say, it appears or...
Yeah. From my vantage point, I don't see you trying. And that saddens
causing me to feel sad.
Yeah.
I think your mic might have turned off.
Did it really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Is it something weird happened to it?
I don't know.
It's showing green on there.
Oh yeah, it is. Testing. Oh. Yeah, was that loud? Okay, you talk.
Hello?
Is it just Mackie's that's working? They both say that they're working. I don't know though.
Does it sound bad?
Yeah, what do you think?
Yeah, I think just Mackie's is.
Really?
Suck it.
Okay.
She could move it to her and it could
We
just
could
be in the
hold it.
middle of you
Can you do
guys.
that?
Or you could try to turn yours off and back on.
Okay.
I don't know.
Let's do that. New equipment.
Fan noise? Where's your fan?
Fan noise. Oh. There's the fan on.
Your white noise?
Oh wait, mine says it's
Oh, someone said neither of them are working.
Oh.
Really? Okay, then there's no way that we don't have anything else connected though. Should we connect?
I sound great.
You do.
So just
How did that work?
We'll probably just don't even connect them.
Okay, but look though. Hello. Oh, I peaked there. Oh,
Yeah, but is that not connected
Yeah,
to your
just go with it, I guess.
But you can hear me. I can hook the other microphone up. Should we do that?
Let's do that.
Let's do this. Let's do this. Okay. Max, start juggling or something.
I told you I don't know how to juggle, and I asked if you could teach me.
I really can.
Because I
Whoa.
don't understand what juggling even. I don't understand the science.
Hey, this actually feels like somewhat of a rock star. So I was like holding the mic stand.
Did you just like that a little bit?
Kind of, a little bit. Okay, so if I do this. Okay, now we're gonna take this right here. Okay, we move this cat food.
Cat food? Wait, why do you have cat food in there for real?
Okay, hold on.
Why do you eat cat food?
I have a cat.
No, okay, we gotta talk about this.
Do you eat cat food?
No, I don't eat cat food. Whoa! Oh!
Why do you eat cat food?
I have a cat.
No, okay, we gotta talk about this.
Do you eat cat food?
No, I don't eat cat food. Whoa! Oh!
That's what the pioneers used to do? Is that what you said?
Yeah, that's how the pioneers used to have to do it. Yeah, holding their own phones. Like on the prairie, or the plains, or something like that, wherever the pioneers lived. All right, how's that?
Okay, the audio sounded better.
Is it?
Yeah.
Is it? It does? Okay, I don't know if I'm turning that the right way. Okay, let me turn all these
Righty-tighty.
things off. All right.
Yeah, there's a lot going on in here.
There's a lot going on. That's what I get for trying new technology. Okay. All right.
Do you want this?
I do. Where were we? You were talking about juggling.
I don't know how to juggle and I don't know how to whistle.
Okay. So we
Oh,
were.
yeah. The Oregon Trail, that cord was very long.
Oh. Okay. The Oregon Trail is a good piece of business.
Do you remember that little game?
Oh yeah. People died of dysentery. I thought that what a great message to teach the kids.
Okay. Hannah's not liking the mic situation.
Hey, Hannah. Can you hear this? Sid, do something. You're producing. She's turning her volume. Okay. So, but it's Hannah.
Picky.
Hannah's being picky. Okay. Oh, we can do this actually. We can put this closer to us.
It's cleaner.
It's cleaner. For Hathaway is the
Maybe
MVP.
turn your phone volume up. Hannah,
Oh.
perhaps?
Did
If you
someone
haven't
just get
already.
roasted?
Well, maybe she already has it all the way up.
Okay.
I don't know. I'm not there.
Okay. So if anybody else is can hear us okay, although we love Hannah, let us know.
Janelle can hear
okay.
us.
Janelle, thank you very much. Okay, let's go right here. No one number 7, because you were one of the early people in here. I'll go with this. Let's go with a good old question, a real question. For those just joining, I'm an actual marriage and family therapist, and I will not be dispensing real life therapy tonight, but very solid advice. That's what we'll
Ooh.
call it. So why do I have a strong dislike to any casual conversation? I'm curious if you...
Like, what are we talking? Like small talk?
Yeah, well, what
Like
do you think?
just hate that?
Any casual conversation, and this is something that
'Cause
gets brought
I
up
hate
often.
small talk.
Yeah, and why? And no one number 7 there. Tell us more about what kind of conversation is it? So
Yeah.
any casual conversation, is it somebody that is it just from anybody like people at the store, or is it casual conversation between friends or in a relationship? Or tell me more about that. And then while they're doing that, talk about what you. Yeah, you're not a fan of casual conversation. How come?
For me, it's just really awkward. Like, I hate being somewhere where it's like... Or, okay, no. I hate it... Oh, those mics are weak. I'm trying to think of a...
Is it really? Okay, if we put it right there. There we go.
Sorry, Hannah, you were right.
Okay, Hannah was right. Hannah was right. Is that better? And we can project. Can you hear better?
Just move it really as close as you can and just scream.
Okay.
I'm getting quieter.
Oh, but
Are
some
you-
people hear it perfectly fine.
Okay. I hear perfectly fine. Not your therapist. Okay, thank you. I feel better. I feel
Get
heard.
all up in the
I feel seen.
mic.
Okay. When I talk, I'll do this.
I'm not doing that.
Okay. Okay. All right, that's fair. I hear perfectly
Oh,
fine.
much better now.
Much
That
better.
sounds great. That
What
was
does?
Great when you were like.
Oh, well, I mean, these microphones are designed to be like this. And if I would have thought about it sooner, I have a second microphone, but we're not going to go through that again. We will yell. Right, Mac?
Right.
Okay.
I'm not good at yelling.
Okay, here we go. At the store, at work, through coworkers, I think that what they're asking me isn't genuine concern. There we go.
Okay,
well
see,
said.
and that's what...
Okay.
I'm trying to think of a scenario, but I feel that way when it's like... When I have to talk to someone that I know is not going to be a significant part of my life, if
Yeah,
that makes sense.
yeah.
Because I'm like, why are we... Like, it almost feels like wasting time to me if it's just, like,
Yeah.
super small talk. 'Cause I'm like, we're not going to be friends. Like, we're not... That sounds mean, but...
Yeah.
And I can't even think of...
Well, think
Like,
about...
okay,
yeah,
for example,
okay.
we just went to a football game, like an NFL game.
Yeah.
And the people that were sitting near us were,
Yes.
like, trying to talk to us and asking questions and, like, getting to know us. And to me, I'm like, you're never going to see me again. So why are we doing this? Because then I get a little, like, social anxiety. So then to me, I'm like, can we please just not?
Yeah.
But if it's someone I care about and it is genuine, then I'm happy to do it, you know?
Yeah. I like that.
that makes sense.
It makes a lot of sense. And no one's 7 saying me too. And so
Okay, yeah.
let me throw out a couple. Sid, what about you? Are you a fan of casual conversation?
No way.
No? I know. As I was saying that, I realized, okay.
There's no way.
Yeah, that was actually, it's wasted emotional energy, right? Okay, so here's a couple of theories. I want you to tell me. You can tell me. So one of them is that it's just part of like what's considered the social contract, and that when you're out and you're interacting with others, you exchange pleasantries, and that's what keeps us humming along as a society.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, and I don't mind like hey, how are you? Even though it doesn't feel genuine, because
Yeah.
again, I'm like, I'm not gonna tell if a stranger is like, hey, how are you? I'm not gonna be like, you know,
Actually,
now that you brought it up,
Yeah.
like you don't do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You
yeah.
prefer talking to people who are invested.
Yeah,
in,
and
in
that's
you.
our and but here's what's funny
And
though.
then I'm invested in, not to be rude, but
Yeah.
like I want to talk to people that I genuinely want to know how they're doing and what's going on.
Yeah.
That sounds mean.
No,
but-
it just is. Like right now we're going with the acceptance.
That's how I
Yeah,
feel.
because there are people like that. They're
and
also
I care big. I care really big about the people I do care about.
Yeah.
And so I do want to know all those little things. But yeah, if it's some random person at an NFL game, I'm sorry.
So-
I don't care.
So there are some people though that do not want to talk to people that they're invested in for fear that then they will say something dumb, or that those people, and that's one of those, it's some people are it's very, it takes a lot of courage to be seen as a human.
Yeah.
Yeah. So some people, you could maybe even see why they prefer
For
talking.
It sounds like a boundary.
What's that?
You're not wasting time. That sounds like a boundary.
Yeah, I mean, boundary would be if I'm going to be around people that I'm not invested in, then I'm not going to engage. And then there's acceptance there, and then it's not that I'm doing anything wrong. But there are some people though who don't want to. They're going to have a much easier time, and we probably all know them, talking about surface level things with just a variety of people. But then, do they have any relationships where they really go deep and they feel really seen and understood?
Or is it always just?
Yeah, and I won't go all or nothing,
Okay.
black or white, but that's like our default.
No, but I could see that.
Yeah.
Because then, yeah, I prefer the people that I can go very deep
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
at any point in time.
Yeah. Now, okay, there's like the one train of thought. There's another one, and when I think that, look at me saying, me, I never like when somebody says that, because that's me wanting to say, this is how I think I show up, but I really enjoy talking to store clerks, people, hotel people.
Yeah, you're very good at it, and I feel like you seem very willing to
Yeah.
do it, which is nice because I think
I was going to jokingly
makes people
say,
feel better.
It does, and it gets us stuff.
it does when you're nice to people and
Yeah.
they haven't been treated nice the whole day. Like,
Oh.
for instance, like a waiter or something at a restaurant, they
Yeah.
end up being so extra nice because it's probably the first time that someone has
Shows
showed
interest or
right,
curiosity
where I'm
with them.
sitting there and I'm like, don't talk to me.
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
you're like trying to ask questions, getting to know them. Yeah,
Yeah.
100%.
And okay, I'm awkward about it. Oh, that
Oh,
went
wait,
so
there's
fast.
some, okay, there's some
Okay,
deep
I like
stuff
what you're
there.
saying there. Okay, I'm awkward about it sometimes, but I'm always nice because it means something. That
Okay,
I like
which,
that.
Again, I match the level. Like if somebody is talking to me, I do respond. It's not like I literally am just like shutting down.
Yeah.
But inside I'm like, ugh.
Yeah.
You
Well,
know?
and
But
here's
I
where,
will do it. I'll have the conversation.
Yeah.
I just don't enjoy
and
it.
here's where we're going to start with some. Remember that I'm a big fan of this concept of thanks, Tiger, right there. Center Rose. I'm really a fan of the concept of acceptance. Does not mean apathy. Acceptance does not mean that I'm just rolling over, but I'm going to accept the fact that it may be awkward, because then I'm not looking for ways to make sure that it's not awkward. I'm owning it. I'm accepting that it's going to be awkward, and then that might allow me to lean in a little bit more. And
Because then I'm having a moment with AB saying, "How did you get to know people that you care about or invested
Oh,
in?"
yeah,
And
okay.
it's like that's deep because obviously it started out
you get your reps in. You get
surface
yeah,
level.
Yeah.
And so it's like that's a good point because how are you ever gonna get to know someone if you don't do the surface
Yeah.
level stuff? So it's like maybe I need to shift my mentality of like, oh, it could become
Yeah.
someone I do care about and am invested in.
Yeah.
But
Now-
dang it.
And I liked earlier the concept around a boundary, because remember, a boundary it's a you thing, and a good version of a you thing. If someone does this, then I will do this. I don't have to go announcing my boundaries out to the, if the waiter starts to ask me about deeper concepts, then I will just respond politely, or I won't engage. But that can be something you can set inside with
Wait,
yourself.
This is too.
Okay.
I know if I want to get to know someone within the first few minutes,
Okay.
is what Lena said. And
Lena-
I feel
Lena,
like that
tell us more.
But I
Yeah.
feel like that's valid because I feel like you do. If you're having that small talk with someone, you can kind of gauge if like,
Oh, I see. I
we
thought
can
yes.
continue this and this could be someone.
Yeah.
And it could lead to, like a new friendship or whatever.
Yeah.
But I feel like you can kind of pick up on it pretty quick if it is like,
Well, I want-
we are never going to talk again.
Yeah, and I want
So
people-
there's so much to it.
Totally.
Yeah.
And I want
Okay.
people to lean into their intuition at first, because if they do get a completely bad vibe, then you can trust that. And that might gauge
Yeah.
how much you're willing to invest or open up to somebody. Because I like what we're saying here tonight, that is the start, could be the start of a relationship.
Mm-hmm.
But you also have to accept the fact that you most likely will, for lack of a better word, waste some time on occasion. And then you're going to have to practice that boundary of, okay, if we talk for 5 minutes, then I'm going to need to leave. And I think a lot of people that are really, I call them pathologically kind,
Yeah.
like kind to the point where it can be to their detriment, then we'll get locked into a conversation and then think that they can't get out of that.
Right.
Right? Have you ever had that?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't like to be mean. So
Well,
I don't know
right?
how to so if I feel like it's going to come across as mean
Yeah.
in like a conversation setting, I have a hard time just being like, okay, bye.
Yeah. So I think that's where sometimes people will avoid the conversation at all, because now they're not going to have to worry about, is this person potentially going to be a waste of time? Am I going to have to cut this thing off after 5 minutes? And then what if the person says, give me your number, we should hang out sometime? How does one get out of that and say, oh, now I've heard that you just give them one that's one digit off. Is that a true thing? Have you ever done that? Sid, have you done that?
No.
You have?
That's really smart, though.
That's for the guys, though.
It's for guys?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
No, one time someone asked for my number at a laundromat when I had to go to a laundromat, and I just never went to that laundromat ever again.
Okay, because you know what I always said about laundromats? I'm kidding. I never said anything about them. I was just going to see if you had some. AB, trust my intuition and vibe. Start from a place. All of you, start from a place of trusting your intuition. I would rather have somebody start from that place, and then if they all of a sudden notice, wow, my intuition is telling me to pretty much stay away from everybody, then we can talk about that with your therapist.
Look into that maybe a little bit more.
But for those who are like, man, my intuition says this, but I don't want to make somebody upset, then there's the opportunity for growth, that I can recognize that, okay, acceptance that I might actually upset this person, but in a nice way, that's a them thing. Because if I'm just showing up being the best version of me, and then they take offense to that, then that might be some of the data that I need to help me understand, this person probably isn't going to be one of my BFFs over time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that fair?
I think so.
Yeah.
Sydney, do you have any new ghost stories?
I don't think so.
Oh,
Really?
I swear.
Thank you,
I feel
Hannah.
like there was one,
I
but
know.
I always forget. There was like probably something really weird that happened that I forgot.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
I swear we talked about something ghosty at some point, but I don't remember what it was.
Ghosty.
Yeah. And it was super scary and things.
I'm trying to think.
Okay, I want to scroll back here a little bit because there are some great comments. Not your therapist. Yes, what I allow in and what I give out. Okay, I like that. I know. Okay, let me talk a little bit about, and this actually ties into what we were saying earlier, that if you grew up and you were allowed to, if your parent, and I'm saying none of us knew how to do this, we're barely figuring this stuff out, but knew how to have a secure attachment with your kid. So your kid they all of a sudden get hurt. And I put this in the podcast this week, and they skin their knee on the playground. And instead of saying, oh man, how are you feeling? Or what, you seem sad, or you seem angry. Instead saying, hey, it's okay. Don't worry about it. Yeah, it doesn't hurt that bad. Or, hey, big kids don't cry, or those sort of things. Just remember that then we're telling ourselves our feelings and emotions are incorrect. And I think that's a lot of what then we go up into adulthood, and we don't trust our gut or our intuition because we've been made to feel
how
like.
How could you if you've been told your whole life, no, that's wrong?
Yeah, yeah. Do you remember we were walking out of that barbecue place, and we were talking a little bit about this at dinner, and then there was a guy, and he was kind of dragging his daughter in, and he said, "You're not cold and you're not hungry." Do you remember that? Yeah. And I just thought, okay, there's someone who literally, I mean, it was a little chilly that night. She's in shorts and a t-shirt. So she probably said, I'm cold. And dad said, no, you're not. And then they're going to a restaurant, and she's probably getting hangry. I do. I get really hangry. You get, Sid gets hangry.
Oh, be louder.
Oh, be louder, be loud. I get very hangry when I'm, that's probably sounded good.
I'm being as loud as I can possibly be.
But but the point there, right, is that this little girl was being told that not only are you not feeling cold, but you're also not hungry, and so stop talking about it, even though you are cold and you are hungry. So now she's learning that I don't know if I can trust my own emotions and feelings, but I certainly can't express them.
And that's crazy because like being cold is a physical feeling too. Like that's like
yeah.
Like yes, you're cold. If you're cold, you're cold.
Yeah.
So that's crazy.
Okay, Skinner American Goods. To be fair, my kids will get up from eating twice their weight at dinner and say they're hungry. This is a fair point.
Valid.
Yeah, that is a very valid point. That's because they probably still want dessert.
But that kid was walking into a dinner place, so I think they were allowed.
Yeah.
To say they were hungry.
I like this one. Are you a bad person because you feel bad?
But you missed
Absolutely not. Oh, okay. Oh, what if I read something? I'm like, oh
like,
man,
wait,
oh yeah,
actually?
oh okay. If you feel offended or hurt after setting a boundary with them, are you selfish for not wanting to be around someone that's always upset with life? No. And this is where it's such a good question because again, it's okay to feel a certain way. I can't even feel bad, but I can also, and this is where when you start to really learn that you're allowed to have all your emotions. There's this concept I love called whole object relations, where I'm looking at a situation and I'm going to have an entire range of emotions. I can actually like what that person's wearing. I can think they're pretty funny at times, but I can also feel like they're pretty annoying, and I can want to set a boundary. And that instead of we default to this all or nothing, black or white, they're either all bad and I don't want to be around them at all, or they're all good and I'm gonna love every single thing about them. So one of the best things you can do is start to notice that, man, I'm a little frustrated with this person. But there are parts of this person that I do enjoy. And then if I notice I'm feeling bad, then that's also a feeling. So we first want to start with, let's just start acknowledging all of those feelings, right? Does that make sense?
Sure.
Were you
I
tuned
know
out?
I'm with you with the acknowledge your feelings, and you're allowed to have all of them, but I'm
Yeah. So what? Yeah.
and you can you lost me.
Okay. Well, so I think what they were saying is like, am I a bad person for feeling bad about setting a boundary?
Oh no,
Yeah. Because and it
you
goes,
are completely entitled to boundaries, and you are allowed to set any boundary you want.
and you may feel bad about them because they're probably pretty new. And here's one of the biggest challenges is when you set a boundary, especially in the world of with the emotionally immature, they're not going to just immediately respect the boundary. They're going to test the boundary for safety. So if you say, hey, if you say that again, then I'm not going to stay. What's most likely going to happen? Even with adults, the person's going to say, really? Okay, there, I said it. And then now you have to back up your boundary, and that's you're going to feel bad about it, because that's why we often come up with, all right, I'm going to give this person another chance, or maybe they didn't really hear me or understand me. And I think that's what's difficult, because a lot of times when people are filling a certain role in a family dynamic, in a relationship, that then when they're learning these new tools, when they start to practice them, then they're stepping out of their familiar role that they play. Mm-hmm. And so and most people in a family system or relationship system are going to want to put that person back down into the place they've been. And I'm not saying that even as some horrific, nefarious thing. It's just we find this like homeostasis in a relationship, and we just all fit in there, and we just, those are the patterns that we play out. Does that make sense?
I think so. I
have a story that I adapted from a couple of different things that is it's about tacos, and I think that this will there's a part in here that I think will speak to this. Can I tell you the taco story, Mackie?
Okay.
Okay, this is really good, I promise. Okay, we have to get our relationship people playing cards out. Okay, because we're going to talk. We got two different couples here, and I think
I'm going to get confused.
I will make sure that you do not, because I think
Okay.
there's a couple of parts at the end here, and this is based off of a few different examples. Okay.
Okay.
So we are protecting the innocent. All right. So we got Mike and Sarah. Okay. They are hosting Tom and Jenny for a game night at their house. All right. Mike and Sarah, Tom and Jenny.
Okay.
All right. Mike goes out to pick up Mexican food for everybody, but when he got back to the house, he realized he forgot to get tacos for Tom. Okay.
Does he hate Tom?
No. He just forgot to get the tacos.
Okay.
They're all in the kitchen. Mike, Tom, and Jenny. Sarah's putting the baby to bed. Okay. Mike realizes his mistake. Mike immediately apologizes, and it turns out both Mike and Tom's wife, Jenny, each have an extra taco. So they offer theirs to Tom. Everybody's happy. The problem's solved. Tom has 2 tacos, and they happen to get a lot of chips and salsa. They're big fans of chips and salsa. So Sarah walks in from putting the baby to sleep. She overhears Mike saying again, he says, man, I'm so sorry that I can't even believe I forgot those. So Sarah says, forgot what? And then Mike explains, again, Mike's the husband. Mike explains, I forgot to get him tacos. I totally spaced it. And then this is when something interesting happens. Then Sarah immediately jumps in and says, I'm so sorry for that. That's so bad. I can't believe that Mike forgot the tacos. I'll go get you some right now. And Mike says, it's okay. We figured it out. But Sarah persists. I just feel so bad. Okay. So here's the thing. So when Sarah walks in and hears about the forgotten tacos, she encounters a situation in which her husband Mike is responding differently than his usual pattern. This is where it gets really interesting. Okay. Because historically, Mike might have engaged in what I was calling self-flagellation. So excessive self-criticism and over-apologizing. But now, because I've worked with this theoretical person, Mike, doing some therapy, he's developed a healthier response. He acknowledged the mistake. He owns it. That was my bad. He solved the problem, and now he's moving forward with self-compassion. He's treating, and this is where I go back to, instead of feeling bad about it, it's like, oh, I'm a human. That happened. I owned it. I fixed it, and now, hey, let's just get right back to the present. It's game night. Okay. So, but here's what's really interesting, though. Sarah's reaction, where she's saying, man, I can't believe my husband forgot these tacos. Like, that's so bad. I'll go get them right now, isn't actually about Tom's tacos anymore. Those are already taken care of. Her reaction is about her discomfort with Mike's new, healthier response pattern. And so when Sarah says, I just feel so bad, she's doing a couple things. She's expressing a level of remorse that she believes Mike should be showing. He's being mean in her opinion. She's also trying to maintain a familiar dynamic, and this is where like the boundary kind of setting kicks in, or when we shift boundaries, that where mistakes lead to extensive apologizing. So if somebody isn't extensively apologizing, then that must mean that they don't care. But in reality, he apologized, and now he's trying to care about himself, because that concept of shame doesn't do us any good. beating ourselves up or making ourselves feel bad. And then she's inadvertently communicating to Mike that his level of response isn't enough. And so this kind of goes back to what we were talking about earlier, where the observation is Sarah walks in, Mike forgot tacos, and he apologized one time. But then her judgment was his response wasn't remorseful enough to match the severity of the mistake. So she needs him to apologize more and to recognize it was a really bad thing that he did. When in reality, he acknowledged that he did it, and it's not really going to help him to then say, man, what is wrong with me? I'm such an idiot, that sort of thing. Mm-hmm. And so this is some notes from the podcast where I talked about this, and I just said the fascinating part is how it creates this no-win situation for Mike, because if he maintains this healthier response, now Sarah is going to view him as uncaring, and she might shut down for the rest of the night because she's like, I really can't believe the way you handled that. And if he reverts to his old pattern of excessive self-criticism to make Sarah comfortable, then he undermines, like he kind of self-betrays, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, it's just really interesting. And I think that's what you start to see when one person in a relationship or in a family system starts to show up a little bit different, maybe a little healthier, not beating themselves up as much, because the family dynamic is used to that playing out. Yeah. What are you thinking?
Well, that's a lot.
Yeah.
But yeah, then it is interesting because then it's like the family then has to face that they have a lot of work to do, and that's so uncomfy. It
is, and here's part of it though, and everyone can still have their own opinions of how things play out, because this is where Mike is now saying, okay, when I beat myself up about things, it really doesn't make me want to do better. It makes me feel bad about myself. But when I can get to this place of acceptance of like, oh, check that out, I forgot. We solved the problem, and now we're all back to, we're good, we're present. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's given him more time in the game of just being engaged with his friends, being more present, because I mean, I'm a big fan of shame is never a component of healing. You know, when we do the what's wrong with me, I'm such a, I don't know what we can say and not get banned on TikTok. ID10. Is that one? I don't know. Like, a couple times I'm always surprised.
I wasn't allowed to say that word growing up.
Okay,
so...
you could say that one.
No, we couldn't.
Could you say that one? Oh, okay.
We really couldn't.
All right.
Or DUMB or HATE. FART. That
was toot. That was okay. Or fluff. I think that's what we use.
Yeah, we'd say fluff.
Yeah. Okay.
That's crazy.
All right, Sid, catch us up on some questions. What do we got?
AB said, special needs parenting taking a toll on 25-year marriage. Any tips to lessen caregiving on marriage?
So, man, I would want to know more, just to know 25 years into the relationship and how old's the special needs kid, and because this is a tough one. I mean, I think when you start getting into the thing about what do we do with our discomfort, that if one of the parents isn't as engaged maybe in learning about how to deal, and I can speak from just working with couples where this is the dynamic, where often there'll be one parent that is really engaged in what the best way to work with the special needs kid is, and the other parent might often maybe not be as engaged. So then when they want to interact with the special needs kid or with their spouse, they're not going in there very curious. They're just saying, hey, look, I can handle this. But they don't know what they don't know about the best way to interact with the special needs kid or the other parent. And I think that's one where we have to be able to acknowledge that if we're not the ones that are reading up about it, if we're not the ones that are spending as much time with the special needs kid, then it's okay to go in and say, I'm not as well versed in this. I don't have as many reps in this as you do, to the spouse. And so we need to go in and be more curious about what do I help me understand my blind spots, or what do I not know that I don't know. But when I've worked with this in my practice, often there's ego in the way, and where somebody they just think that, okay, if I go in and I'm that open and vulnerable, then my spouse is going to think I'm an idiot about everything. So I just think that's a really difficult dynamic. The person that is not as invested in working with the special needs kid, the person who is, we got to get them to this place of being differentiated enough to say, hey, I really need you to step up and train. And okay, where does it say?
19-year-old son. Her hubby's hyper-focused on the son. She loves it, but wants his attention too.
Okay, then I had it all wrong. Okay, so this is one where, all right, let's start talking about differentiation. So this is where, you know, can you DIE? I don't think you can say that one either. I was gonna say, can you go to the mat? Do you know that phrase? Go to the mat with the concept of I would like more focus in the marriage. I think that's safe to say one could. So then at that point, that's something. It's okay to ask for needs in the relationship. Now, if then he's saying, yeah, but we've got our kid, 19. I really need to focus on him. I mean, that it's okay to say, you know, I need us to focus on each other. I need to focus on the relationship. And this is where I think you probably do need to go to couples therapy as a couples therapist, because a lot of times it's just too easy for the person, the husband in this situation, to kind of slip into this. I don't want to sound mean with this, but he can get out of his discomfort by saying, you know, okay, no, I will, but I really got to focus on our son right now. Or, oh, well, it sounds like you aren't as caring as I am about our son. There's a whole lot of ways there where somebody can get out of that discomfort. And then the wife in the situation most likely is not going to continue to go back to that over and over. Does that make sense? No, I lost you.
Some of it did, and
Yeah.
then I got distracted by trying. I wanted to help that one, and I don't know how to do that.
Okay, what else?
How to make the heart stop popping up on the side if you're watching it.
Oh, I like those though. They're kind of
You know.
yeah.
So I was trying to think if I knew how to do that.
I mean, I don't want to say how, because that means that people stop hearting it. But but I don't know. No, thank you.
No, but I was following some of that, and I think it is hard because it's like, I feel like it's so, I mean, obviously, but it's so important for the couple to be like close and have a good bond and be strong together to show up
Yeah.
for the son.
There you go.
And so it's like, I do feel like, not to say that the son's not still so important,
Right.
but it's like there does need to be, and I don't know the answer, I don't know how to do that, but it's like, I think it's so important and it's valid to put emphasis on prioritizing like the wife's attention too, because that will then allow both of them to show up better and more united for the kid.
Yeah.
But again, I don't know how to I'm like,
No,
that's
I
your
love it.
job.
Yeah. Well, and I like
But
that. And
I think that's so important.
yeah, and Amy said, yeah, going to therapy together in 2025. So this is where I love that Sid, you and Mackie both said that that's super important, because it is.
Yeah.
And you guys are so spot on. And yeah, I think what I'm addressing is it's really easy outside of maybe a therapist's office. Sometimes inside a therapist's office, it's hard to do it too. But for somebody to say, I miss us and I would like to spend more time. And even at that point, if a husband says, hey, I agree. Well, then we've alleviated discomfort, but then are they taking action to
Right.
change?
Like, then how are we actually
Yeah,
going to make
yeah.
that happen? Yeah.
Yeah. And that's,
But I think it's worth prioritizing and worth finding the ways to do that, because it's going to help everyone in this situation.
you really need
in
to.
the long run.
You do. Yeah, I call it raising your couple's emotional baseline. Yeah, like you have to. Yeah, I know that.
Right.
Yeah.
And then you can show up.
Yeah, exactly.
better.
Hey, let's shift gears a little bit here. Unless Sid, if you see other questions.
No.
Okay, Mackie, you have changed. You're in the midst of changing careers,
Yeah.
and so I think that's something to start talking about more too. So, finish this up before we do. Yeah, it's the action piece. He loves me to pieces. Thanks. And it is. So this takes a lot of courage to, even if somebody says, "Man, I agree, we need to do it," but then to say, "Hey, what's that going to look like?" You know, because you've
But
said.
even just, it
yeah.
sounds like you guys are on a similar page, at least with it, which I think is great, because I could see it not being that way. So
Yeah.
it's like the
Oh,
fact
yeah.
that you have that base of love
It's a good place to start.
and have even just that you're going to go to therapy in 2025, like, that's
Yeah.
already a good step,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's great that that you're aware that there is the action piece that needs to happen. And then obviously figuring out what that looks like for you guys specifically, but sounds hopeful.
It does.
Is all I'm saying there.
There's-
Sounds like
there-
you're in a good spot
Yeah.
for all the things. I'm needy too. I would feel the same way.
I am as well. I'm anxious. This is where we get in
Anxious
anxious
attachment.
attachment. Yeah, anxious attachment. I mean, if somebody isn't
So-
jumping up and down saying you're awesome every 5 minutes,
Yes.
I'm like, hey,
Pay attention to
Yeah,
me.
are we
Yes.
okay? Like, is everything okay?
Yeah, so I
And-
get it.
yeah.
I really get it.
And when I'm working with the anxious attachment, I will say that's like, that one's, it's okay. We can learn to be more present. We can learn to know, we have to learn that we are okay. And this is a big cliche, but it is so true. If you do not love yourself, then it's hard to really love another person. Because if you don't love yourself, then you're putting your worth and your value in how another person, you think that they are trying to love you.
Okay, wait. I have thoughts on that.
Let's do it.
And it's that, okay, we were just talking about Trisha Paytas
Okay.
last night.
Yeah.
And so Trisha Paytas and Tana Mojo have their podcast together.
Okay.
Okay. And they had this question, like someone was basically asking, do you have to love
Yeah.
yourself before you can like even get in a relationship?
Oh, that's different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they had like really good points about it that I felt very similar in like my relationship and how my personal relationship worked, where I guess this isn't the same thing, but
it's a good question. Keep going.
Where it's like, then sometimes it takes someone loving you to show yourself how much
for sure
you should love yourself.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Oh, it does.
And then that can further you really loving yourself and then being able to show up.
Oh yeah.
Better.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh, I do. You're spot on.
I've been thinking about that a lot.
Okay. Well, this is where if I can lay out we none of us, like, we all go into relationships immature, codependent, enmeshed, and we're basically saying, okay, do you love me? But I'm not going to show you my whole version of me, because if I do, you're going to run away screaming. So then we get in the relationship, and that's where we're doing this little dance of how much do we show the other person, and we believe we're on the same page about so many things because we're kind of afraid to really express that we might have a different opinion. Yeah. And so the process of being in a relationship, the goal is to become emotionally mature together. And so, so I mean, you're right. I mean, this is where they talk about in relationships, you're holding up a mirror and you're seeing how you respond or how you react in the relationship.
Yeah.
And so part of that is learning how to, the more that you're in a relationship, the more you learn about each other, that you are going to absolutely recognize that, of course, we have different opinions and different thoughts, because we're two different humans and we had two different backgrounds, growing up differently. So it almost doesn't make sense if, like, we agree on everything. We're the same.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then you get in a relationship because that feels safe. It feels familiar. But then as you go through things, it's to have that courage to be able to start to open up about things. And that's where you start to realize, oh, it's okay for me to think the things I think and to feel the way I feel. And that's where the self-love starts to come in. The self-love it's a process, and I don't know.
Yeah, and I agree. And I think part of it, though, or at least like my experience was, I had my base level of like self-love, and it wasn't great, and it wasn't where I'd want it to be, but it somewhat existed. And then getting into a relationship and seeing somebody love parts of me that I didn't love, then it's like, then I'm like, it almost gave me permission in a weird way to then be like, oh, I actually can love these things about me. Yep. And then it furthers that
until you can then kind of
until
like,
I confidently feel that way about myself.
Yeah.
And then can show up even better in my relationship, but also in other relationships.
Yeah.
So
and that's and that's part of what I like about being a therapist, is you've got people that it takes them a while even to open up to you, and sometimes they've never opened up to people about their deepest thoughts or their darkest secrets. And the whole point of where talk therapy works really well is when you've got somebody that is, their chin isn't dropping, whatever you say, this is how I think or feel, and then you're saying, well, tell me about that, and how long have you felt that way, and where does that originate from? Because then the scary thoughts in our head are getting expressed, and then they aren't as scary when you can share them and the other person is genuinely curious. And so the hope is you're going to be able to do that in your relationship, but it's almost like you have to practice it first. Yeah. And then hopefully you can practice in your relationship. But if the other person even just gives you a glance, and looks at you like, whoa, I didn't know you thought that, then we're going to go back to, I don't want to say the wrong thing. Okay, this is right up here.
Yeah, I want to go back to
please, no 1-7. Thank you.
Off topic, but no 1-7.
No, it is the topic. Let's go here.
Has your physical health ever affected your mental health? So
the answer is no. No, I'm kidding.
I'm like, no.
Wait, okay, Mackie, take the floor.
No, this is, yeah. I a little over a year ago, if you haven't listened or anything, I was diagnosed with Hashimoto's, which is basically my thyroid quit on me a little bit. My body started attacking my thyroid, and if you don't know, your thyroid affects literally every like major system in your body, and so the symptoms of a thyroid that is not working suck and like
it's a technical
affect
term.
A lot of but literally, and it's really hard. And 100% yes, the beginning of this year my mental health was genuinely the worst it's ever been. Like, I mean, you witnessed some of it. It was bad, and a great deal of that stemmed from being like having so many symptoms and feeling so bad all the time physically, because it's so hard to feel good mentally when your body is like giving out on you, or in like in different ways. Like, I think it's so hard to keep a good high baseline if you're not feeling even remotely okay. So 100%, yes. And they go hand in hand, 100%.
And I would recommend go find on the virtual couch. Mackie and I did an episode. We have a podcast called The Mind, the Mirror, and Me. and we've done a bunch of episodes, and but we did one that I think we ran on both that and Virtual Couch, where we talked about what had happened to Mackie over the last few months. But what are some of those details, the stats, if you will? How different are you?
Stats
In
of
what way?
Oh, well, I started getting all my stuff together and helping my thyroid, and I lost 67 pounds.
67 pounds. That's like.
But I
that's a
started
kid.
feeling, the more things I did to help my body feel better, the better my mental health started to be. And obviously there was so much more to that, but they definitely go hand in hand, and it definitely, like, one affects the other and vice versa.
Yeah.
100%.
And you set your PR in the half marathon a few weeks ago, and that was something you weren't even sure if you would ever do again,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Okay. Which actually plays in well of Lena asking what industry you're transitioning to, if you don't mind sharing.
Yeah.
And why.
Yeah. So I was doing hair. I've been a hairstylist for the last, like, 4 years.
It's called a licensed cosmetologist, Mackie.
Sorry. I was a licensed, I'm still a licensed cosmetologist.
Yeah, you are. True.
But I was actively doing hair. And then all this health stuff started happening, and basically, like, it became very hard on my body to be doing, like, to be standing for 12 hours a day and doing all these things and whatever. And so I kind of, like, didn't want to do it anymore and didn't want my body to feel that way anymore. And also kind of got tainted because while I was doing hair, I was going through all of that, and now I kind of associate
Yeah.
doing hair with that scary time. So I was doing hair, and now I've just shifted gears slightly to being an esthetician. So I'm in aesthetic school right now. So it's a little bit less harsh on the body, and the appointments are a little bit shorter, but it's still in the beauty industry.
And you've always liked that stuff too.
I love that stuff. Yeah. So that's what I'm doing.
So if you're in the Arizona area,
And
stay
you got
tuned.
skin on you.
Yeah, stay tuned.
I gotcha.
Yeah, if you need some therapizing, I got you. And if you need some skinitizing, you got it, right?
But yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Sid, other questions? We got about another 10-15 minutes.
Shannon,
Okay.
it's awful. I just did 13 services in 6 colors in 2 days. Good for you. Yeah.
Oh.
People do not know, unless you've done it, like, hair is not easy. It's so hard, and it's so
That's
hard.
why I got rid of mine.
Yeah, I'm sure, exactly. But even in...
Did Sydney laugh at that?
Yeah, you got her.
Oh my gosh.
Seconds after.
Yeah.
Okay, why that? Why?
Bald, and I just forgot about it for a second.
Okay.
But yeah, even a very healthy body, like, hair takes such a toll. Doing hair takes such a toll when you're working 12-hour days on your feet. You have no breaks. And you have to be a therapist, basically,
Yeah.
without the license.
Oh, look at that. Okay.
But-
Fire. I work front desk at Avita, and the esthetician students always say they love it because they can sit down.
Yes.
Oh, that's awesome.
Exactly.
Okay, thanks
it
for that
makes a
feedback.
big difference. So, it's great.
Okay.
And I'm sure no one 7 is talking about your hair.
Yeah. My eyebrows, you plucked them last night.
I did.
They were
icing
getting
back now.
unruly.
It's so hard. Yes, it is so hard. I see you, Shannon.
Icing back.
Proud of you.
I don't know what
It's
that
a
means.
lot. She's icing her back.
Oh,
because she's in pain.
icing her back. I was like, is that something the kids say these
No.
days? That's literal
No.
ice on her
I
back.
see you. It's
were
hard.
were you raising your hand, Sid?
There's 2 questions.
Okay.
First one, how do I pull a baddie?
Okay. I'm laughing, but I don't 100% know what that means.
How does he pull a baddie?
How does...
How did you
Okay,
pull
or
mom?
can answer
Wait,
this
is that like a Pokemon card from a package of cards?
Okay, this one. Okay, on boundaries,
Yes.
I'm struggling.
Okay.
On my own, she's good. She's saying with her own boundaries, she's good. But as a married unit, they're on different pages.
Yeah.
So, like, how do you... Because if you both have separate boundaries, like, how do you communicate that
'Kay.
and negotiate?
It's such a...
then, like, 'cause
yeah.
it's not fair to ask someone to compromise, really, is it? Or is that what you have to do?
Well, you do over time, but here's the goal, though. I have so many thoughts on this as for anybody just joining again, a legitimate couples therapist for almost 20 years. I think I think I've seen 1,600 couples, and I actually enjoy the couples therapy. And so I'm going to go with some just general statements as a couples therapist on this, that often when one person is really learning to set boundaries, healthy boundaries, then the other person feels like, well, I will set a boundary too. Almost like an immature tit for tat kind of thing. But
like,
when
they don't actually care about it, but they
Well,
want to because the other person did, or no?
yes, and so they do care, but often what they care
AT&T
about
guy?
often what they care about is that their partner is now saying, well, this is my boundary, and then they feel attacked or they feel hurt. Like, that's the immature reaction to that. if that makes sense. And so
They feel attacked.
yeah, because
So
if the
they
person says,
want to
"Hey,
do
if
that?
you talk like this to me, more, then I'm going to leave the room." I mean, that isn't often where, because if the person is talking to them that way, then that is a sign of immaturity, because there's never a reason to like yell at your spouse and call them names and all that kind of stuff. I mean, that's kind of our immature version of ourselves that are showing up that way. It's normal. I mean, it's human, but that's something that I can work on, that I can learn how to express myself with my big kid words. But then what happens is if somebody says, "Hey, you know what? I don't deserve to be talked to that way. So if you say that, then I will leave the room." Again, the person is having to say that because the other person is going off on them and oftentimes in an immature tirade. So then their response to that boundary is like, "Oh yeah, well, if you do this, then I'll do this." So, and the reason I put this out there is often, as a couples therapist seeing this, one person will talk about a boundary and the other person is just going to throw a boundary out there. But one boundary is based off of I'm doing this for me. It's the best thing that I need to do for me and my mental health. I'm going to show up different. I'm going to model better behavior for the kids, for myself. And the other person, instead of them being able to really self-confront and say, "Man, you know what? I need to look at why I all of a sudden go off on my spouse." Like, that's a me issue. So that's what a boundary is, a boundary is a me issue. If you do this, then I will leave the room. But what we're hoping that'll do is signal to the other person that that's not okay. So I'm just kind of saying that I would imagine the person asking this, and she says, "Okay," or they say, I feel good about my boundaries. Then I would imagine they're probably hearing some more of the emotionally immature boundaries, and I'll air quote those, being set by the other person. Because then what would happen next is now we're getting into that world of negotiation. And here's a little therapist tip that I will give you all. And I would love your yeah buts on this. Tell me what you think. Okay. So if it goes back to that, what I was trying to say, I can say this, if you can die on a hill for a thing, meaning
That's what you were trying to say earlier?
Yeah, but I'm also
Why'd you say the mat?
If you can unalive on a hill about this, thank you, Sydney, that makes so much more sense. So if I can say, I don't deserve, I don't deserve to be spoken to in that way. And then, so if you speak that way to me, then I will leave the room. I can go back to that over and over and over again.
That's allowed, right?
Yeah, because I can unalive on that hill, because that.
I don't like that. Wait, what were you saying earlier?
Huh?
Yeah, why'd you say on him? Bring it something on a mat.
Oh, I said if you can go to the mat on this, like that, like
oh,
it's
you weren't saying to unalive on the mat?
Okay.
No, you're no.
I did too.
You're not unaliving on a mat, and then, like this kid mat or anything.
This doesn't work.
But I like that. Yeah. So now my ADHD is off the charts. Okay.
You're the one that said
okay,
it. Okay.
But where I was going with that is that I can go back to that all day long, every day. I can go back to this. That's not okay to say that. Does that make sense? But if the other person's saying, "Oh yeah, well, if you don't," I don't know. I can't even think of a good example. But if you don't do this, then I'm not gonna be your friend. I don't know. See, that's a bad example. Sydney, edit that out of post. Okay, take that out right now. But my whole point with that, though, is now be curious about the other person's boundary. Here's the therapist hack or the therapist tip, because how curious does one need to be to then say, "Hey, so tell me why you think it's okay for you to curse me out? Like, tell me more about that. What's your hope there? What's your goal there?"
Cursed out?
I don't know. Because I set a boundary.
Oh.
Yeah, but if you can be curious about what the other person's boundary is, and genuine curiosity, then that's where you're going to see if the boundary, if there's like if it's a shallow boundary or if there's depth underneath it. Because when somebody's setting a very healthy boundary, it's not something that they've just now I think you guys are gonna make fun of me anything I say. It's not something that you're just doing willy-nilly.
Willy-nilly?
Do you know that guy?
You wanted to
I went to school with him.
Okay. Well, Timmy Johnson.
Yeah.
You wanted to get bullied for that 100%.
No.
Nobody says willy-nilly.
They do. They're my age. They're my many years old. But
No.
but a boundary is going to come from a place that you're finally saying, enough. This is what I need. I need you to not do that. If you do this, then I will leave the relationship. Okay, I think I've said that one a lot. Any questions or thoughts on that? Sid, did you have two questions?
Work on your phrases is all I'm kidding.
I'm rattled right now because you guys.
Because we're making fun of you.
No, I enjoyed that.
Mom said something so silly one time.
Okay, what?
She said, she was talking to me, and she was like, "Well, I don't want to be a thorn in your side and like knocking on your back door." And she said,
I was with her. I was with her on the thorn. Yeah, okay, thorn in your side, sure.
In one sentence, I was like, "Sorry."
Okay.
It was crazy. This was years ago too.
Okay. Okay, there we go. Tara or Tara, either one. My boundary of being called names was crossed way too many times, and I went, no contact. Yeah. And that's one of the hardest things to do. But when somebody continues to push your boundary or cross your boundary, that is what has to happen. Because and the emotionally immature, the narcissist, they will push your boundary, because a boundary is a challenge to the emotionally immature or the person who is narcissistic in the relationship. And that goes back to, you can't tell me what to do. It goes back to this all or nothing, black or white thinking, where if you are now going to have a thought that is different than mine, then that means then I must now tell you how bad yours is. I must push that boundary and then take this one up position. So well done. And I think the no contact thing can be so difficult. Yeah, I mean, I don't know how hard is that? You guys have both had to go. Yeah, you guys have both had to do that, right, Sid?
It's the hardest thing, but the easiest thing, because if you don't do that, it's never gonna end. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and this is where we started getting into that world of the trauma bond, the intermittent reinforcement. Because if you hold your boundary and they push and you don't relent on the boundary, now that person will often do what? Now they'll say, no, you're right. I need to not do that again. And that feels great. Riddle Nerd is back.
Riddle Nerd.
Nice. Number 1 gifter badge. Thank you.
I have a question.
Yeah.
This is like kind of off of one of your TikToks that went viral recently, but I'm curious about it too.
Okay.
Is it bad, or is it like emotionally immature to have tantrums in private? Like, is that?
Oh no, I like that question. Oh wait, hang on. I gotta do the
Wait,
puzzle
what?
piece
Like,
to
you
this,
mean
man. This
you
is
in
such a
your
good
room,
question.
like throwing
Yeah.
stuff around?
No, you go, girl.
Good.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
also, like, is it bad to teach your brain that that's how you release negative?
Okay,
Oh.
so I have done. It's funny that you bring this up, because I've said both on my podcast. Because you can find, this is one of those things where you can find some data that'll back either one up. Where one person can, and I remember early in my therapist career, people literally had these Bozo the Clown punching bags in their offices, and you would
Like
just
for clients?
yeah. And if you got really angry, you're gonna go punch out Bozo the Clown. But then I remember reading a study that talked about that what you're teaching your brain is when you get angry, then you need to get really angry to let go of it. So then we were working on, okay, I need to notice my anger. I need to breathe through my anger. I need to sit with my anger. I need to, meditate. But sometimes you can't go all the way from 0 to Zen. Oh, write that down. Come on now. That needs to be on a t-shirt.
Okay, but can you just, like, would you encourage someone to just, like, go on a run? Or, go work out, as opposed to sitting there throwing pillows around and stuff?
So
Or is it really, at that point, is it okay?
the answer is yes.
That's not helpful.
Okay, but it will be, because where I'm going with that is that you have to start from a place of acceptance of, I feel like I want to yell and scream in my room, and I feel like I want to yell into a pillow, not pillow.
Hello.
I remember how to say it right.
Proud of you.
Yeah,
Only
and
took
then
you 55 years.
okay, I've been saying it for months that way.
Okay.
But in that realm though, it's start from a place of, like we were talking about earlier, trust your gut, your instincts. So start from a place of, hey, that is what I need to do. I feel like screaming or yelling. And I think, yeah, when you're by yourself, that can be a great thing to do. Okay. But then check in with yourself. And after you do that, then kind of like allow yourself to kind of feel, okay, how does that feel? Do I feel relief, or do I feel more agitated or angry? Because that's the cue for what the work is that you might need to do. So now we can start working maybe on more of the meditation or the mindfulness, or being able to breathe through a big emotion. But the first thing you have to do is allow yourself to feel it.
I like that. Like, I like the separating. I don't know. I feel like it's like when you make it not so much of a reaction, but you sit with it for a second.
Yeah.
And like, okay, why do I want to do this? And
Exactly.
I'm still gonna do it.
Yes, absolutely.
Like, it feels better when you have more control over it than you're just like spazzing out and screaming into it.
Yeah. But you first might start from a place of spazzing out, screaming into a pillow.
I did that today.
Did you?
Of course.
Okay.
Yes.
What did Mackie do?
Sydney's the one that slapped me in the back that one time.
Okay, that was like 20
Get
years ago.
over it.
Yeah, it was 20 years ago.
I'll
wasn't
never
it?
get over it.
Okay, let's talk about not getting over things.
She 5-starred me in the back.
Okay.
And then told me I couldn't cry about it or tell my mom.
And I still miss it.
Okay. Okay, and here's let me address some of these things too, where people are talking about their nervous system after past traumatic experience. So this is where your emotions and feelings are there to help you. They are trying to tell you a story. And this is something I'm glad that we're going to talk about this. I just put this out on one of the podcasts where I'm now convinced that when you're little, Your body is trying to communicate to you through your emotions, through your feelings. And like we said earlier, even a good parent is telling their kid, hey, don't worry about it. Calm down. It's not a big deal. Rub a little dirt in it. You'll get over it. You know, what was your role in it? So we're already learning that our feelings and our emotions aren't correct. That we're learning that, okay, I can't trust my initial gut reaction. And so then we stop externalizing our emotions and we internalize them. And now we go through life knowing, first of all, we kind of feel like my emotions and feelings are wrong. They're not welcome. And that when I express them, I'm annoying someone because they're telling me what to do with them. And plus I probably need somebody that's going to have to tell me that it's okay to feel or think away. And so I think that's a really important part. So I think our little bodies internalize these emotions. Yeah, they almost imprint on them. And then they say, all right, when you grow the big adult, then you can heal yourself because nobody can heal you. You know, and then we get to be the big adult and we miss the memo that said, now it's our turn to heal ourselves. And so we're still looking for someone else to heal us, or we're responding in the ways that we did when we were little kids. 2025, I'm going to write, and I'm doing a lot around just what literal, like, emotional immaturity looks like and means, because that's the part where if we're having a tirade or a rant or, you know, throwing a fit, that is the way that we deal with our emotions when we're little. But that's okay. We need to accept the fact that I've never allowed myself to do this when I was a kid. And some we kind of look at this.
So it's okay to do
it's
it now,
okay.
is what you're saying?
You start from a place of acceptance. But then instead of, that's where I don't want anybody beating themselves up after they do. There's nothing wrong with you. You're human. You're letting yourself feel the feelings and emotions for the first time. And so now it's like, okay, but like what Sid was saying, then now I can take a look and say, okay, how do I feel? Where is that feeling? What is that emotion trying to tell me? And then I can start to work on that. I don't know. What do you think?
Mr. Blue said you have to release your emotions or they will overwhelm you to the point where it becomes anxiety.
Absolutely. And Mr. Blue, well said, you hold those emotions in long enough. And now we're looking at what I see often looking at things like conversion disorder, where people start to have physical symptoms of this emotional trauma. Yeah.
Which I feel like there's a lot here right now.
Yeah.
How do I help myself not get overstimulated or lower my anxiety when people come into my space?
Okay. This is the first thing you must do is accept that I am getting overstimulated and I am noticing that I am anxious when people come into my space. And because we can't shove or push those emotions away because that's what we've been trained to do. We've been trained to don't think it, but right now, don't think about
I had to do this.
An orange polar bear driving a go-kart wearing a green hat. Don't think about it.
Yeah.
Okay, but you just did.
I did.
Okay, but you had to do this when?
We just went to see Wicked.
Yeah.
Yesterday.
Oh, talk about this.
And I'm sitting there.
Which I liked it.
One thing. Oh, I love the movie. But one thing about me is I can't do people. People drive me crazy. And we were sitting there, and a father and his son
enjoying a nice moment.
come to see, enjoying Wicked. They come and they sit right next to me, and this kid keeps like standing up, walking around in the front. He's sitting in his dad's lap. He's sitting in his own chair. He's slurping his empty drink for 20 minutes.
That is annoying.
He's asking every
it's
5
like,
seconds.
Bro, it's out.
Everyone that comes on the screen, he's like, "Is that one a witch?" Like super loud. And and then the dad starts eating popcorn like he's never eaten anything in his life before.
Okay, but what is it that you have though? I always forget what it's called. Misophonia.
I can't do noises.
Yeah, so if I sit here going.
But anyway, so I was so overstimulated and I had to practice this because I didn't want to like let that be my movie experience.
Right.
So I was like trying to focus. So I just I had to do lots of breathing.
Mm-hmm.
I had to keep my focus like on what I was doing. And I had to just try to remind myself that they're just people. Yeah. And they're just doing their thing. I did pull one of these at one point and was plugging this ear.
At one point, your immaturity kind of kicked in, right? You wanted him to notice, right?
I wanted him to see me plugging my ear.
Yeah.
It was a whole thing.
Yeah.
Anyways, I don't know how to help you, but I see you.
Okay. While we're telling the Wicked story, though, I think the other funny part was you buy your tickets and you have the seats that you have, yeah. And then we went there and there were these two.
You pick your seat.
Yeah, there were two older people in our seats, and there weren't any other people in the seats there. And so then at first I'm nice, and I just say, oh, okay, we'll sit down a couple ways. And then of course here comes the shuffle because it ended up being sold out. And so then they move around, they move over, and then finally, what was his line?
He goes, "They gave us the wrong seats."
Yeah, it's like, no, dude, you picked your own seats, but you didn't like where they were.
Snuck into this movie.
That's what Mom's theory was.
Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, but then back to Shannon. She went to the Amen Clinic.
Oh, that's okay.
That's your place.
I do. I've sent several people there. I've got to go there. I got to wear a lab coat. I got to watch somebody do an amygdala hijack. All kinds of things. Yeah.
And she's saying that she's saying how to calm your nervous system
okay.
you've had like PTSD type of things, and saying that relationships are difficult for her now because of that.
They absolutely are. And so this is one where, again, let's start from a place of trusting your gut, and then it is going to be some work, and that work happens outside of the relationship. And this is where mindfulness, meditation, I still don't know what I don't know about meditation and mindfulness, and it is something I do literally every day. And I did it for years off and on, and I would tell people even, oh no, I meditate. I'm a meditation person. But then the last probably 2 or 3 years, I've upped my meditation game, and to the point where I'm trying to take a look at my heart rate, lowering my resting heart rate, experimenting with different meditation apps, looking at different like binaural beats and hearing different frequencies in each ear, because what you need to do really is train your brain to be able to turn back to the breath. We get anxious and we start to overthink and ruminate, and remember, the goal of mindfulness and meditation, you're not trying to stop your thoughts. You're not trying to clear your mind. And I think that's one of the biggest misnomers of mindfulness and meditation.
You think you'll do it for 2 minutes and every thought will be gone.
Right. No, you're learning to change your relationship with thoughts. And so when you notice that you're overthinking or ruminating or worrying, that is the stuff that starts to ramp up your heart rate. And it causes you to start to go back into that fight or flight response. So when you notice that's happening, now you're going to turn back to the breath. You're going to now focus on your breathing in through your nose or out through your mouth. Or you're going to focus on what are some things I can see? What are things I can hear? What are things I can taste? What are things I can dance to? I know that's not one of them, but I can never remember all 5 of them.
So you're going to go with dance to?
I don't know. It would get you out of the moment though. But you're learning to change your relationship with thought, not stop the thought. And that has to be done on your own, so that then when you show up in situations, this is where we've built in a pause now. And that pause is where you have absolute power to set the boundary, to remove yourself from a situation, to kind of ground yourself, and then recognize I am okay. But if we just let our thoughts run and we do that, we'll start to elevate our heart rate, and we will start to get into this place where our cortisol's flowing, our amygdala gets hijacked, and then we can't even access the part of our brain that is rational and can make sense of things.
Well, that's why it's silly, but it is like a practice thing.
It is.
You have to practice it, which sounds silly and sounds like, how could you even do that?
Yeah, it is.
But you are practicing how you go about those thoughts. Because we've talked about it a little bit, but I have some relationship PTSD from some scary stuff. And it has it's been, how old am I? 21, 22,
yeah, somewhere in
almost 6 years. And
okay.
I still have things of it that I have to deal with and things that still get triggered. But I'm in a way better spot now because I've practiced bringing the feelings with me and breathing through things. And I don't do meditation as much as you do, but I do the breathing stuff often. Yeah. But it takes time, and that sucks, but it does.
Can I share something with you and Sid both that I think is really interesting? When I was talking about healing this inner child stuff earlier, or that I do think when someone feels overwhelmed, or they're thinking about a relationship and then they're immediately thinking, I don't want to go through that, or I don't want to deal with that anymore. Yeah. That's where I go back to, I think that is that little child part of you that's saying, hey, I'm giving you this emotion right now so you can heal it. So not that it's so that I'll run away from it, but so that now I can do something about it. And I'll tell you, I had a client that I just so appreciate this client, and they were talking about really feeling overwhelmed about being a mom. And they said at one point, they were even telling themselves, they said, I think my kids deserve a different mom. Now I've got a great relationship with this client. And so, because this is not something that I would want to just throw out there to somebody, but I was able to say that, okay, they do, but that's you. And that's your own brain saying, my kids deserve a new mom. But that's your own body and brain saying, yeah, it gets to be you. You get to go on that journey to heal. You get to now be the more patient mom, the more present mom, the more curious mom. And I don't know, it was one of the most powerful moments I think I've had as a therapist. And it was just over the last week or two.
My friend Laura sending me
heart puffs.
Thanks, Laura.
That sounds like I feel like that would be a good snack to eat around.
A heart puff?
Yeah, eating those around Valentine's Day.
Eat that.
Yeah, put a little almond milk on some heart puffs.
Okay.
Boy howdy.
Boy howdy.
Right.
Wait, willy-nilly?
I got 2 laughs out of Sid. Was it the heart puffs or the boy howdy?
Boy howdy for real. That's crazy.
Okay. All right. Okay. We've gone. Your daughter got so much older.
I liked that, Dad. I liked that, like your body's giving you that emotion so you can heal it.
I think
like,
so.
I'm gonna use that.
Please do.
That's cool.
Because I
Your
really,
body's trying to work with you.
yeah,
Sometimes.
and it's that part where, I'm not trying to go against the things we said earlier, because we're designed to deal with emotion in concert with another human. That's one of the most beautiful things you can do in a relationship, but it takes vulnerability. It takes being really open. It takes courage to know somebody. It takes courage to be known. But ultimately, everything is, in a good way, a you thing, a me thing. And so I'm ultimately responsible to heal myself, to learn how to be more present, to be more mindful, to learn how to love myself. And that's a thing that you can do. But it's going to be uncomfortable. You're going to say all the yeah buts. Yeah, but what if it doesn't work? Well, yeah, but I don't think that applies to me. Yeah, but. And so often, and that's where it's hard, because I want to tell everybody that I know and that I love and I care about that, oh, there's all these other ways and you can do this. But I know that that's a me thing, that I want that from somebody. But they have to actually want that themselves. And a lot of times that does go back to that inner child, that childhood wounding where your parents were being the best version of themselves. They didn't know what they didn't know, but they also didn't know how to help you identify with your emotions, help you recognize that, you're you're a human being, not a human doing, that your worth isn't just built off of the things that you do for others. But those are things that I believe, that I find strong.
That was deep.
Ooh. Okay, let's do it then.
Drop the mic.
Let's do it.
Just chuck it across the
Okay,
room
hang
real
on.
quick.
I'll do it. All right,
No!
right? Hey, okay. Tell me that doesn't feel like you're like on tour. You just wanted to smash that thing or something like that.
No, I'm okay.
All right. Hey, all right. It was good to be back. I had a great time. Thanks for showing up. Sid?
We didn't get banned this time.
We did not get banned this time, and it looks like there are 11,000 or so people. So thank you so much for showing up. That was great. Mackie's audience, come back next time. Right?
Nobody. It's just Laura.
Give us more of them heart puffs, right? And then, hey, go follow. Where will they find you on the people that have been here?
My Instagram's Beauty by Mackie, but I don't know if it's Beauty by Mackie on TikTok or if it's Mackie Overbay. Couldn't tell you.
All right, we'll have that. We'll have that
One of
better
those.
next time. Shannon, thanks for showing up here. Yeah. All of those that were here, we appreciate you. This was a lot of fun tonight. We'll get more. We'll get back to doing this more regularly.
Yeah, we're gonna try to actually be consistent.
Really enjoy it. Oh, go to tonyoverbay.com. I have a brand new website. I don't know if I updated. I paid for this thing 2 years
I
ago.
didn't even know that.
I know. I finally fixed a bunch of things, or had the web guy Riley, who's amazing, fix some things.
Web guy.
And so that's up there. TonyOverbay.com. Sign up for my newsletter. Go listen to all the podcasts. The Virtual Couch, Waking Up to Narcissism, The Mind, the Mirror, Me, all those. Murder on the Couch. Go to the YouTube channel and subscribe and like and smash things and
Smash all those
whatever the
things.
kids do these days. All right. Hey, thanks everybody. Have a great week. I'll see you next time.
Know what you don't know is what it's all about.